Been a tough year being a property investor? Rising interest rates got you second guessing. Not sure who to turn to for help? You need to reach out to Australian Property Scout, one of Smart Property Investment's most trusted buyers agency. Director Sam Gordon has personally helped many SPI show listeners invest to reach their financial goals using his purpose-built strategies. So what are you waiting for? Head to www.australianpropertyscout.com.au and book in a call with us today.
This is a Momentum Media production.
Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show, the podcast by investors for investors.
Hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Smart Property Investment Show. I'm Grace Ormsby and I'm so excited about today's episode. We're discussing a pretty cool topic. I haven't had a chance to do one of these in a while, and something that I think will be of interest to a lot of you who are listening along. If you've been following on with the block at all in 2022, it's been a pretty jam-packed season so far. I am absolutely lucky enough to be chatting with Natalie Fagan and Ashlee McKee. They are the superstar agents behind house number one's Tom and Sarah Janes at 191 McGeorge Road in Gisborne. Nat and Ash, thank you so much for your time today. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
While this feels like it's probably, a pretty new, we're in the lead up to the auctions right now, less than a week to go, just for a timestamp for everyone listening as well. The auctions are coming up this weekend, and it's been a pretty quick period the last few months, but this has probably been ongoing for a lot longer than that for you guys. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has actually. So what a lot of people don't realize is that the day that the auction, so the day that the block actually goes to air, they actually stop filming the day before. So they actually do the build for 3 months and then they air it for 3 months and then they literally have the auction that next weekend. So it's really been a 6-month process for us. So
you would have been sitting on this for a long time.
Yes, we had. So we were actually fortunate enough. So we actually got to meet the contestants, all of them at one of the block challenges that was at a property that we sold in Spargo Creek. That was one of the homes that they used as an example of what you can do in country Victoria. And we actually had a chance to meet all of the contestants. And after meeting all the contestants that day, they actually approached us, and we had house 1, house 2, and house 3 approach us to represent them that day.
Oh my gosh. It's a kudos to both of you, Ash and Nat, for obviously, having that presence about you that people liked and they wanted you on board. How did you pick between so many cool people as well that are on the show this year?
Look, and it's a really good question. It was really challenging because all of the couples, so we met all of them, and David Wood was there. He's been doing the block. I think this is his 12th year, and David was there as well. So he's got an amazing experience background in that. And the three of us had a bit of a roundtable discussion, and all the contestants were so lovely. Like when you meet them in person, they're really genuine, they're really down to earth. And we were blown away, to be completely honest with you, by 3 of the houses wanting us to represent them. And it really just came down to very, very, very small details about Tom and Sarah Jane, that they just noticed things in the house. Like they knew the names of, they recognized calendula flower, and they recognized a secret door that led up to the attic, and they kind of already knew what paint was on the floorboards. So it was really tiny things like that that really sort of made us go, okay, maybe, this team, and also by the fact that they have zero filter. I think that's quite fun. They're gorgeous to work with. They just, that what they say, they are just 100% themselves. And we really love that. So, but I have to say that the couples from house 2 and house 3 were also delightful. And I even said, we even talked about, can we do all 3 of them? Can we represent all 3? Because we didn't want to say no to anybody. That's not something we normally do in our job.
No, I was just about to say that's, very unheard of, that you can't, there's a conflict of interest there that doesn't really arise in any other situation, is there?
No, that's right. So look, it was, like I said, it's very small details. And yeah, we were delighted to be able to work with Tom and Sarah Jane. They are amazing. But in a perfect world, we probably would have loved to have represented everybody.
Well, Nat says that, and we're in the final week, and I think I've got a few more grey hairs, and I'm looking for some sleep, but it's been incredible. We couldn't have been more happier to have Sarah Jane and Tom. And the relationship that we've formed with them through this whole journey has been beautiful. And, you know, their goals in life, you know, they just want to, you know, buy something, build and enjoy this beautiful region that we live in as well. And so that was really aligned with us too. And we're, you know, it just makes us work even harder for them. So it's been really lovely.
And I don't think I mentioned from the outset, you guys are at Belle Property Daylesford, and obviously it's local, isn't it? Like all this is happening local to you.
The Macedon Ranges.
Yeah. So we're about 45 minutes from Gisborne. And it's an easy drive. We have 2 sets of traffic lights up this way. So it's 110 Ks all the way. So it is quite easy, but it is in the Macedon region, which has just boomed over the last few years.
And Ash, as you mentioned, you've probably had a few sleepless nights over the last couple of weeks getting ready for all of this. But one thing that Nat brought up about them noticing some details, I know that you're quite involved in the whole marketing and the photography, and we're going to get to this a little bit later in the episode more as well. But how helpful is that when you're trying to actually get a property ready for sale, generally, not even when you're dealing with something like the block, but how helpful is it to have people so engaged in that process?
Oh, it makes a world of a difference. And it even shines through with the campaign as well, because when, you know, your vendors put their heart and soul into their house that they love, and they know that it's an emotional thing for them when they need to sell, you know, if they can come in and help with the styling and show us the beautiful features and, you know, really work with us, it makes a huge difference. And Sarah Jane and Tom have done that with us the whole way. Sarah Jane's style is, you know, beautiful.
Beautiful. I've seen all those pictures several times over now, and they're stunning, aren't they?
It is. And it's bucking the trend, I would say. You know, who would have thought to wrap an entire bedroom in tartan? Like, it's just, and it works. It just works. And so to have vendors like them to, you know, work with them through that and really share what their design ideas were and watch them build it and really be able to bring that all together for them to show the rest of the world is really quite incredible.
How much of a say did you both get when it came to some of those finishes or some of those design choices? Did they ever come to you and go, we're just not sure what to do here?
Yeah, they did. We got to catch up with them in the beginning, and that was really helpful for them. You know, we would make suggestions and Tom was already 4 or 5 steps ahead. You know, we'd be like, do you know, I think we should cover so you can get from your car into the house and not get wet and go straight into the mudroom. He's like, yeah, already sorted. And we're like, okay, you know, maybe this for the bedroom. And they were already leaps ahead in what they were thinking to do with their house. And especially when you would have seen the work from home space that was created week 2 of the competition, and they already knew how they were going to give their house more floor space and really think about who those purchasers could be. And they followed that through. They had a plan and they kept working that through the whole way.
And they asked, as well as in that, Grace, is that they asked really good questions as well. So what, you know, with a 5-bedroom home, when you've got that many people in a home, really one of the things we kept saying was you need to have 2 living spaces. You need to have 2 living spaces because obviously their kitchen, dining, lounge is all one, but then they've got the media room with the separate office. So they really took on board about what buyers look for on very large properties, and we gave them a rundown of that, and then they just made it their own.
Which kind of brings me around to what my next questioning is on, Nat. And that's sort of what we've seen, especially over the last 2.5 years. And I don't want to keep talking about COVID, but we've obviously all lived through it. And we've seen the impacts and the ramifications of that. And this trend to regional living, it's not going away anytime soon by the looks of things, especially when you see stuff like the block taking full advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, 80% of the buyers that come into the region are from Melbourne. So whether that's they want a second home or they're making a permanent move, but there is a real movement towards having space and sustainability, which we are really strong on in terms of, really small things like composting and greenhouses and things that you can do anywhere in pretty much any space. But there is a feeling that people want to feel like that they've actually got space to breathe, and they want to reorientate themselves. And I think that's something that was really hard during COVID. I mean, I don't know about you, Grace, but I've certainly got friends that said that, they've got PTSD from all the length of lockdown. And it was really quite different for us in regional Victoria. Melbourne was definitely hit a lot harder than we were. And one of the things that came out in regional Victoria was the fact that because we weren't allowed to go anywhere, but we were allowed to move around more in our own towns, was a sense of community. So people would stop to have conversations in the supermarket wearing their masks, but would spend that little bit of time to make connections because that was the only connections they could have. And so I think the sense of community in regional Victoria has become really strong since, the pandemic happened. And Melbourne's community has obviously persevered and been incredibly stoic and strong through all of that. But there is now this feeling about going, you know what, I love Melbourne, but I want to have that space to breathe. And really working from home, and that all of that has meant that people can make that shift without too much hardship, really. It's a much smoother adjustment, especially for companies that have let their staff do that. I think they even did a study and they found that the productivity was higher as well.
And I guess time will just tell with how these auctions go over the weekend to be a testament to that. But there's already that many other indicators in the market that are showing that that's the way that things have gone, a trend to be here for a long time yet.
Well, we also see that Daylesford is a really tourist location. And so a lot of people will come up here for long weekends, multiple long weekends over the course of a year. And then they get to a point and they're like, we're staying at a lot of Airbnbs and getaway places. Maybe we should just buy a place ourselves. And so we do have a lot of Melbourne buyers that come up and do that. I was one of them. I came up here multiple times and ended up turning into let's rent a house to let's buy some land. And we're now building a home and we're going to make this our permanent location. So we do see a lot of people making those changes and putting their family first.
Plenty more still to unpack. We'll see you on the other side of a break.
Whether you're a first-time investor or already have a healthy portfolio, we all know there's a lot of stress that comes with property buying. That's why best-selling author and regular guest on the Smart Property Investment podcast, Paul Glossop, has outlined all his battle-tested investment strategies that have helped him and others upsize their portfolios, avoid money-draining pitfalls, and build wealth through property investing. Get your free copy of the best-selling book, A Surfer's Guide to Property Investing. Head to purepropertyinvestments.com now.
Welcome back to this very special episode. We're talking all about the block. House number one's Tom and Sarah Jane have listed their property with Natalie Fagan and Ashlee McKee. And Nat and Ash, it's been really great to talk to you so far. There's so many questions that I still want to ask, but I'm going to pick straight up off where we just left off. And because looking at the house, looking at Tom and Sarah Jane's house, it is decked out to the max. There's cool stuff there. There's a pool, there's a playground, basketball hoop. It's the epitome of luxury living, really. And obviously it's what people are looking for because otherwise they wouldn't have put it in the house. Has there been this shift when we're talking about that shift moving regional? Has there been a shift in what people are looking for from their regional properties? Which of you will be best placed?
I think that really what people are looking for, and whether it's, a 2-bedroom or a 5-bedroom, it's on 1 acre or 10 acres. I think that what people want is just a real sense of comfortable living. And that can be obviously, $5-6 million home on acres and acres of land. And that can also be a 2-bedroom cottage with, a small garden. So I think that really it's changeable for the person. But for Tom and Sarah Jane, what they did is they designed that house, and they kept saying to us, we've designed this house as if we wanted to live here. And that was really what they've done, because they have a 1-year-old daughter. I think she's turned 1 during filming. And they said, we literally designed it as if we were going to live here ourselves. And I think that that's an indication of what they would like to do with their friends and their family. And that's why the entertaining area and the dining and the kitchen and the lounge and that stunning outdoor space all flows into one another. And what I really like about that house as well is also Ash and I have small children as well. And we understand that when you have a family, and whether it's your own children, your friends' children, your grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whatever it is, you want to be able to see those kids while you're enjoying yourself. And so they've kept everything feeling spacious, but all within sight lines. So everything feels connected. So even while you're sitting there having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in the morning, if your kids, are bouncing the basketball, or you've got the kids swimming in the pool or playing here, or you're cooking dinner, everything feels connected in the space. And that's just realistically, that's what they've done, because that's what you would want if you're going to be living there with a family, essentially. And they have designed it as a family home.
It's got to be interesting as well. It's reality TV. We can't forget that. But, whenever you're talking to investors and you're saying, don't get emotionally attached to a property that you're renovating or doing anything with, because it's not for you, ultimately. But the block isn't like that. The block is about, building those properties that are going to suit the people that will end up buying them. And it just turns out in this case that that's exactly what Tom and Sarah Jane have done, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, they had to think about it differently because every year it's been in Melbourne. And so the land sizes are smaller. The houses are still, huge in bedroom and bathroom size. But, you've got 10 acres of land, and that's a big blank canvas. And so, what do you want to do with those 10 acres of land? And, what are those buyers going to want to do with it? And so, like you were saying before, the basketball court, the pony run, there's a golf par there. It's phenomenal. But, at the front of the house, they have this beautiful pond, which they've put a shipping container. And so they're like, well, if you don't want to be up in the house, then you come down to the pond in the afternoon and you listen to the frogs and do a little bit of fishing. So they really utilize the space so it doesn't feel overwhelming for those buyers that are coming up from Melbourne, because 10 acres, let's be honest, you're going to have to get on a tractor to mow that lawn. So, you want to be able to utilize the space in a way that doesn't feel daunting for any buyer. And so they've done that beautifully.
One of the things that we do get from people that come up looking for larger properties on 5 acres or more is really that they don't want high maintenance. They want something that obviously looks beautiful and can give them joy, but isn't going to take up all of their weekend with weeding. So designing a property, one of the things that people come up here looking for, they're looking for properties that are irrigated, whether that's from tank water, whether it's from a bore, but basically obviously sustainably, because we always like that as well in the region, given, that the weather changes quite dramatically here summer to winter, but really making sure that people are getting time to spend enjoying the space instead of looking after the space. That's something that we get buyers asking us about.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense too. It's a good point to bring up, Nat, especially if it is going to be someone's second home. There's no way they're going to come up for a weekend and just mow.
No. And that's what we get. It's really interesting because people say to us, if it's going to take me 2 hours to mow that every 2 weeks. And you know what I mean? That adds up to a lot of hours per year. So the less maintenance that you can have on a property while still bringing you lots of visual joy, that's very appealing to buyers.
Ash, you've done a lot of work with targeting buyers in this campaign, and the campaign's probably been going for a lot longer than anyone's actually been able to see. As you said, 6-month process since you pretty much came on board with this. What are the kinds of people that are coming and are expressing interest in this property at this point in time?
We're seeing a lot of young families and, older couples that are looking to have that second property. We did originally think that we'd see a lot more investors looking to put it on the Airbnb market. But no, we're seeing a lot more families that want to make it their permanent home. And those retirees that are looking for that country feel and space. And so they're quite happy to sit on 10 acres. We did have to do a bit of a shift through the campaign when we started to identify the buyers, which is fantastic in a digital age because, it's just one switch and then, we've clicked it over, which was really important. And as we started to get inquiries coming through, we had to be quite reactive on how we were targeting the campaign. And fortunate enough, we have an amazing head office support team, which helped us throughout the whole campaign. And, we thought about every single step right through from the photographs to the video that was done, when it went out, how it went out. Every little piece was thought about before we just put it out to the world.
Have you ever done something on this scale before, either of you? Have you ever sort of been this, and I know you're going to be dedicated to every single property that you're working with, absolutely, but I guess the scale of this is a lot larger, like a national campaign. You're dealing with reality TV.
Yeah, it's the biggest one.
It's the biggest campaign. It's not the biggest property, but it is the biggest campaign.
Yeah, it is. And that's why we're grateful that we work with Belle and the head office team, because they have worked on campaigns like this in the past. So they were gaining information from us about the region, and we were gaining information from them from a level of reality TV and size. So it was really great teamwork to be able to have that throughout the whole campaign. Nat and I joined as duos. So the two of us working together and utilizing our strengths was really important. And it's been fantastic to have each other through this campaign because it is big, 6 months of, one property where we're in a time where, days on market are less than 30 days. You really need to rely on each other's strengths and work together with a property like this. And reality TV, there's been some bloopers, and thank God they weren't on TV. We're pretty grateful that we sometimes forgot that the mics were still on us and we might have been chatting about something, but it hasn't been as near as daunting as what some may think. And at the end of the day, it's about the contestants, and we're just in the background to ensure we deliver a fantastic result for them.
You do hold a very unique spot on the show, don't you? As you just said, you're not the contestants, but you're still working for them and you're involved in so many ways as well. Does it make you either of you want to ever, be a contestant yourself on something like The Block?
I actually said I would.
Yeah. Has it turned you off?
No. Look, I mean, the interesting thing, reality TV is reality. We all know that there's I personally don't think there's much reality in reality TV. The people are real, the situations are real, but at the same time, obviously, we all know that there's a huge amount of editing that happens, and that's because it makes good TV. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's a TV show. But I think the most enjoyable part of the whole reality TV for us has been really seeing the background of it. It's quite privileged to be able to be in an opportunity not only to sell a beautiful home, to work for a beautiful couple, to make fantastic connections with Channel 9, who've been fantastic. Head office has been outstanding. David Wood, the auctioneer that's working with us, has been fabulous as well. So really the relationships and the connections that we've made through this process, Grace, have probably been the most rewarding part. And I think that Tom and SJ, especially because they do want to move to the region, and that's also one of the reasons that we, as Ash said, that we chose them, is because I think we will stay friends, because we talk probably 3 or 4 times a week, so it's really lovely. And, it's really nice to have that connection. And reality TV or not, all of the people on that show are fantastic and lovely. And honestly, the crew behind the scenes were phenomenal. Yeah. Like, they were just outstanding in the way that they greeted you. They were always happy. And I know that having private conversations with some of the crew, they kept talking about that they all keep coming back to the block to work for it because it's a family. And, you hear it on the show, oh, we're a family, or the block's a family. But once you're in it, you can actually really see that they are. And that's really lovely to see that connection and that support that they'll have for each other. So that's been really, really lovely.
On the other hand, no, I wouldn't do the vlog. I like my sleep. I don't like getting dirty. So I will stick to being an agent.
Fair enough. I like that we get both sides though, obviously, I guess it's like anything. It's not for everyone. And the block would be definitely one of those things that's quite divisive for people. We're going to take a quick break there. We'll see you again on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Want to slash thousands off your home loan repayments? Whether you're an investor or homeowner, we know how important it is to find the lender that suits your unique situation and with the best rate. If you've not compared your home or investment loan in the last 12 months, you may be able to cut your repayments today with a different lender. That could mean more money in your bank account and less stress when it comes to paying your loan. Find out why more borrowers are turning to Finny to refinance their home loans. Call us now on 1300 002 023 and find out what you could save, or visit our website finny.com.au to book an appointment.
Welcome back to this very special episode. I'm joined by Natalie Fagan and Ashlee McKee, the superstar duo who are working with house number 1 on the block. And something that we sort of touched on already, right at the beginning, I'll go to you, Nat, on this. We were talking about how there's that 3-month gap between filming stopping and then the auction taking place, which no one really knows about, but it hasn't just happened overnight. There's been that 3-month period in the middle. How has the last 3 months actually been for you? Because it would have been weird to be seeing all this play out on TV, knowing that everything's done, but you've still got this auction to prepare for.
So, yeah, it's basically you can't really sell a property until you know what it's going to look like. So, obviously we were going out to the property multiple times, and as the filming stopped, that's when our job started. So we sort of had the relationship with Tom and SJ, and then obviously talking to them about what the house would look like and what buyers are looking for. But then really Tom and SJ's job kind of ended when the filming stopped, and then they do, obviously all the block contestants do lots of promotional things around Australia, and that's when we started spending a lot of time at the block and then taking buyers through, and obviously Ash working out about what the campaign would look like, and there's all of that going into it. And as I said to Tom and SJ, I said, well, now you can relax because your job is done and now it's all on us. So it's really about, that's why it is a partnership, and it's like that with every house sale, always is about the vendors and the agents working together as a partnership, because you can't have one without the other. So when you have those really strong relationships with your vendors, no matter what the property is, this one is obviously quite different because they're now famous across Australia. It does mean that we are able to really focus on what it is that Tom and SJ have done in that house and promote it with great success, because we've had rave reviews from people coming through the house.
What is the feeling like? Because obviously the auction's only a couple of days away now. How are you both feeling? Apart from exhausted, because I feel like you wouldn't have stopped for the last few months, because as well, I want to iterate for everyone who is listening along, you've still been doing your normal jobs. Nothing else in life has stopped.
No, we're still doing our jobs. We have almost 30 listings current at the moment, still closing deals, breaking suburb records as well on the way, and also have children under 10. So
just to add that little fact at the end, you're busy.
We're busy, but that's okay. It doesn't stop us. It gives us that adrenaline to keep going. So yeah, life hasn't stopped and we keep going, and we make little adjustments along the way. Bless our partners. They have, helped us through the whole way, where our Sundays have been completely down at the block, and, Saturdays is your open for inspection day. So yeah, look, it has been very different, but we've loved every single moment of it. We wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, we wouldn't take it back for the world.
No.
It's an opportunity that doesn't come around every day, so you'd be crazy to say no.
Yeah.
What has it been like? Because I'm assuming when the block is on and obviously all the publicity that comes with that, there's got to be a flow-on effect for both of you.
I think it's interesting because people that you would never think that would watch the block, I suppose, have gone, oh, you're on the block, we saw you on TV, and they stop you in the supermarket, they stop you in the street. And my son, who's 8, just turned 8 on the weekend, keeps saying to me, all my teachers keep saying, your mum's famous on TV like this. And he thinks it's all to do with him, of course, because he's 8. He's like, yeah, my mum like this. It's pretty cute. So, the recognition has been lovely, but so is the support. So because obviously the auctions are this weekend, the amount of messages and well wishes and texts and, all through all the social media, through everything that we've gotten about good luck, we're so excited for you. Yeah. That's blown us away, especially in this last week since the auction's been approaching. And now everybody knows what the final houses look like. That's been really lovely that we've had so much support from the wider community. It's a beautiful thing. It sounds really corny, but it is.
So, Ash, from a marketing perspective, how much have you been able to leverage that kind of thing and that elevated profile?
Look, we've got to do things that we wouldn't normally get to do with just some of our properties out here. So it's been phenomenal of what we've been able to achieve. Like our social video that went out, and we put out 2. We put one of Nat and I introducing the property, and there was no soft tunes and calming music. It was like women dominating. Look out this, look out, here comes this property. And, everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, love it. Sarah Jane was like, sent emojis where her head is exploding. She was in love.
Yeah.
But then we also switched it a bit so we could invite people in to have a bit of an understanding of where Sarah Jane and Tom came up with the whole concept of their house and the design and what they wanted to achieve with it as well. And so we really wanted to not only market the house, but also to get our brand out there as well. And throughout the way, Nat and I have had to be quite reactive and quite quick onto our feet of how we wanted to do these things because, Nat and I just became a duo, as I was saying, at the end of last year. And so we're still, working out of, do we love that? Do we not like that? Because once this gets pushed out, thousands of people are going to see it. So we had to be quite reactive of what we wanted as our brand, as well as learning along the way. And that can be quite challenging sometimes, but, we're wrapped with what has gone out and what people are seeing.
I think what's nice about what Ash is saying there as well about being reactive is that as quickly as the market changes, and Grace, you would know this better than most, as quickly as the market changes and, with interest rates and prices and up and down, over the last 5 years, is that really you need to be able to move with the tide. And being a female duo means that really with Ashlee's background of what she's done in, her past life means that she is able to really analyze what's working and what's not working and change it so quickly to feed in with what people want. And that's a beautiful thing because I don't think there's many real estate agents that would have that level of attention to detail that Ash brings to the table from her background and really sort of understanding the market from data and feedback and then adjusting what we do and how we do it to get us the greatest success is something that's been sort of bigger than Ben-Hur for us through this campaign. But Ash has handled it like a true champion.
Oh, thanks, love.
Have you had anyone coming to you guys and being like, I'd love to buy the block house, but might be a little bit out of my price range? Like, what else have you got? Have you had people like that?
Yeah, yes. So there was a campaign, something that we did with the block, which Ash obviously choreographed, which was really interesting because we got a lot of inquiries saying that, do you want to buy the block house? And it was like, no, I'm not interested in the block, but I am interested in other properties like this. And Ash's campaign that she put together with head office on that really brought in a huge amount of leads that we're still following up about people looking in the region, which is fantastic because that's something that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah.
Very cool. And a cool way, just to be doing things. And as you said, a once in a lifetime. Well, hopefully not. Maybe the block might come back to regional Victoria again next year. Never say never.
You never know.
But once in a lifetime opportunity and you've got to take it. So brings me to one of my last questions, which is simply, what is your favorite feature on Tom and Sarah Jane's house?
Can we choose one each? Because there's so many. All right, you go first.
Oh, I can't believe you threw me in. So my favorite feature of the house is definitely in the living space in front of that fireplace. You can sit there, you can have a drink. The fireplace is just a piece of art in the middle of the house. And then you just look past that and you're looking out to the Macedon Ranges and it just is breathtaking. The other day when I was there, it started off a bit foggy and overcast and you could see it rolling in towards the house. And then all of a sudden, in about 20 minutes later, it slowly rolls backwards and then disappears and the sun's coming out. And it's just breathtaking to see those views. What about you, Nat?
I actually my favorite thing is probably the way the house feels because when you've got a living space, which is, I think it's literally just under 500 square meters of living space, then it could feel overwhelming and it could feel huge. But the color palettes and the textures and the layout of that home as well, it doesn't feel overwhelming at all. It feels very cohesive, and it feels like that you can move through the space really smoothly without sort of feeling like you're entering a new world every time you go into a room, because the touches of the color palettes and all those textures have really been carried through, which SJ has just done outstandingly well. And then I do have two favorite parts. So obviously that view and what Ash spoke about. But the other thing which I think really I do love is that they really thought about people that want to work from home, and that what they've got with the lounge room, media room downstairs and that upstairs study, which has like 6 Veluxes going across, and you get views all the way to the east and west. It's just beautiful. It's really beautifully done, that space. You'd be crazy not to want to work from in there. And I think that cohesive feel, that everything comes together beautifully, I think that's probably my favorite part.
Well, you've absolutely sold me. So if only I had the money lying around to buy it, I would see you at the auction on Saturday.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Nash. It's been so lovely to chat today. It's definitely not the last conversation we're going to be having. And best of luck with the weekend. I can't wait to see how it all goes. I will be watching very closely. But again, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the experience and what comes from it.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you. Oh, jinx.
Jinx.
Thanks, Grace. We've loved being on here today.
We have. Thank you for the time that you've given us as well.
That's all we have time for on this week's episode of the Smart Property Investment Show. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Like or review us on whatever platform that you do listen to your podcast on. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Reach out, editor@smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. As always, stay up to date with the latest news on our website. Subscribe if you haven't already, and check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Until next episode, stay safe and well. Bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs, and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.
Have you signed up to HR Leader? Go to hrleader.com.au to subscribe. Receive the latest HR and people leadership insights and news.